Hello everyone, welcome to Beyond the Veil. Today, we hear from Fernando Magdalena, who died unexpectedly after a heart attack and returned with a powerful message from the afterlife that will challenge your understanding of life and death. Ora, hello. It's a pleasure to be part of this discussion, and I'm grateful to have been invited by this channel. I believe it's doing incredibly important work by sharing the experiences of those who have had the privilege, as I have, of encountering something profound. For me, it was a privilege to have this experience, where I came to understand that there are two planes, the human plane, which we all know, and a transcendent spiritual plane, where we transition to another realm. I lived and worked in the Canary Islands, though I'm originally from Vigo in Galicia. While working in Las Palmas of Gran Canaria, I developed a serious throat infection that I initially ignored. Eventually, the situation worsened, and I had to visit the emergency room. There, they decided to give me an injection to halt the disease's progression. However, during the injection, a blood vessel was accidentally hit, causing blood to gush out. As I began to lose consciousness and felt my life slipping away, I realized that this could be the end. Surprisingly though, I wasn't afraid. Instead, I thought, if this is the end, let's see what happens next. If there's nothing else, then so be it. I knew that the brain can continue functioning for a few seconds or even minutes after the heart stops, and I considered that if I allowed fear to take over, I might create my own hellish experience. But if I stayed calm, I could observe whatever might happen next. As I reflected on this, it felt as though the ground opened up beneath me, and I started moving through a tunnel at an incredible speed, around 300 kilometers per hour, to give you an idea. As I hurtled through the tunnel, I noticed a point of light at the far end, rapidly approaching it. In what seemed like an instant, I shot out of the tunnel and found myself enveloped in that light. It felt as if I had merged with it, becoming part of a luminous zone. The experience was astonishing. I was overwhelmed by an intense sense of joy, happiness, and well-being. In that moment, I thought, if I really am dead and out of my body, where is my body? As soon as I considered this, I became aware that I was being resuscitated, trying to return to life in the intensive care unit. At that point, I realized that the physical body we value so much is just a shell, an inanimate object without real identity. The true essence seemed to exist in another, more subtle energy body, where my consciousness resided. In this state, I experienced total clarity of thought, far surpassing my usual state within the physical body. I relished the sensation of merging with the light and exploring this new space. It was then that I encountered a being of light. This being was larger than me, and the experience of meeting it was wonderful. It seemed much more evolved than us, like an older brother, and its presence was immensely comforting and embracing. The being radiated brightness and a sense of confidence, which felt both enriching and empowering. I realized how important it is to have positive, enriching experiences in life, both for ourselves and for others, so that our journey here is constructive and meaningful. As I merged with this being, the clarity and light expanded my consciousness, and I felt more intelligent than ever before. I remember asking questions about the purpose of life and why we face such difficult experiences that often seem insurmountable. The being explained that suffering is more instructive than happiness, and that some lessons can only be learned through facing difficulties and obstacles. By embracing these challenges and overcoming them, we leave a profound imprint on our souls, preventing the repetition of past mistakes. The being emphasized that life is about striving to learn, connecting with the positive dimensions within ourselves and the universe, and continually growing and expanding our consciousness through experiences. As our consciousness expands, we transition to higher dimensions, progressing gradually through time in this and other realms. Eventually, we reach dimensions where we exist in a state as elevated as these beings, and from there, we continue ascending until we merge with the universal intelligence, the cosmic consciousness. At that point, we would become one with that superior dimension, where the supreme intelligence, what some might refer to as God or the Creator, resides. This intelligence has created life and organizes everything within the universe and cosmos. It envelops us across different scales and dimensions, constituting a comprehensive process of life aimed at surpassing challenges and reaching our highest potential. This is the process of life. As we develop intelligence, consciousness, positivity, and the ability to enrich our lives and the lives of others, we contribute to the universal experience. Though we each possess unique personalities and nuances, we are all interconnected parts of a greater whole, part of an intelligence that encompasses everything. This was the essence of what I learned from my encounter with the being of light. I felt as though I was melting into him, experiencing a series of sensations as if I were watching a film of my life, from childhood up until that very moment. The images played out with incredible speed, but also with immense clarity. I saw the positive things I had done, the negative things, and even the things I hadn't done. The entire experience was profoundly enriching. As I reflected on my life, I came to understand that the purpose of my journey was to act positively and seek enriching experiences. When I was in that state of clarity and merging with the being of light, I noticed that my intelligence seemed to expand, allowing me to ask questions I couldn't have answered before. But in that moment, the answers came effortlessly, clarifying the reality of another dimension, a realm of light that I was moving towards. As I continued to explore this wonderful plane, I realized there were no obstacles, no walls to prevent me from going wherever I wanted. I was completely free to enjoy the wonders of this dimension. But just as I was reveling in the beauty of this place, I was suddenly pulled back into my body. The transition happened quickly. As I regained consciousness, I found myself in a denser, grayer space. The intense vibration, happiness, and joy I had experienced began to fade. I was back in my body, surrounded by doctors and people who were overjoyed that they had revived me. What they didn't know, however, was how much I longed to stay in that other realm. I felt a strong desire to continue the extraordinary experience I had been having, rather than returning to my physical life. Although I wished to remain in that wonderful space, I understand now that the experience lasted exactly as long as it needed to. It provided me with enough enrichment and insights to carry with me even after returning to this life. Since that moment, I've become deeply aware that we are eternal beings, undergoing a transition in this life that is both valid and enriching, even though it can be incredibly painful at times. This realization has made me a more conscious person, encouraging me to act more positively and to value life with a greater sense of purpose. I now see life as an enriching journey, and I continue to embrace it with a positive mindset for myself and those around me. It brings me great happiness to know that I have passed through this life, leaving behind a legacy of positive, enriching work. I strive to learn, to grow, and to use my experiences to help others enrich their lives as well. I hope that my experience can be of value to others, and I have no doubt that each one of you will go through similar experiences sooner or later. It's truly a pleasure to be here with all of you.